Jai Gurudev. Those who are sincere in their spiritual growth, life is very, very different than for regular human beings. What happens at some point is your whole life becomes about your spiritual growth. It's not something you're into. It's not something you do, taking some time, as nice as that is, to put aside at certain times of your life to try and create some peace, to try and create some harmony, to try and get closer to God. That's child's play. And nothing really happens that way. You know, you can have a certain amount of peaceful experiences. You can create some balance in your life. But you stay human. You know, undoubtedly, you become a human being who's into some spiritual things, a human being who dabbles in an exploration of some higher energies. And like I say, you can have some experiences. But true spirituality is when it becomes your whole life. It is what you do day and night. It is all you are. There is absolutely not a thought that crosses your mind. There's not a feeling that you have. There's not a thing that you do. There's no one you interact with. There's nothing that happens that is not part of your spiritual journey. Not only is that the only way to walk this path, it is the only way that one can experience what is greater than their own self. There is no in-between. It has to be all or nothing. I always thought that's what the Bible means when it says the Lord your God is a jealous God. I mean everything. You sleep when you sleep, you wake when you wake, for that, the only reason. You eat what you eat. Everything. That seems like a lot of work, because what people do is they try to struggle to do some yoga, or struggle to do some meditation, or struggle to do mala beads a little bit, or some japa, or go to church or synagogue, and that's a lot of work. So imagine how much work it would be to do that all the time, constantly. When the truth of the matter is, it's no work. When truly it becomes your whole life, it is effortless. It is no work. There is nothing else that's going on but that. Therefore, there's nothing you're doing. You've heard of doership and non-doership. At that point, you understand that. You're not doing anything. Nothing, ever. It's doing you. A path is like riding a wave. When you ride a wave, you're not really doing anything. The wave is doing everything. All you're doing is choosing to stay on, to go for a ride. A life of spirituality is that. All the time, constantly, you're riding the wave of life. At first, it's difficult because you claim that you can't see the wave. You can't see what God's will is. You can't see what the Dharma or the Tao is. Later, you find out that was utter ignorance. It's like being in the ocean and saying, I can't understand what the waves are doing. Well, they're doing whatever they're doing. They're all around you. I don't know what you would not be able to understand. You know, they're just coming and going and flapping around with whatever the waves do. And when you say, I can't understand what they're doing, what you really mean is you want to figure it out, and you want to be able to build a pattern that you can understand, and therefore you don't understand. If you're not trying to understand, and you're just seeing, experiencing, that's it. That's the most you're going to ever understand about waves, is that they're there. It is the same way with life to a spiritual being. They're not trying to understand life. They're not trying to give meaning to life. They're not trying to do anything with life. And they're not trying to not do anything with life. That's why the Gita is so subtle, talking about neither doership nor non-doership. They are just seeing life. That should be effortless. If I tell you to look outside and look at the field, you shouldn't get tired. That shouldn't create tension. That shouldn't be like a really hard thing to do. You know, you just open your eyes and miraculously there it is. Now, if I tell you to see 3 deer that aren't there, and you're going to sit there and wait and watch and get weary and keep looking. I saw 2, but I didn't see 3. It's like you're going to be busy because you have within your mind some preconceived notion of something, and then you're putting out effort, doership, to try to see If you can have that happen, make that happen, experience it happening, who cares? The net result is there's this comparison between what's in your mind and what's in life. And that's what creates doership, and that's what creates stress, and that's what creates humanness. That's the definition of a human. Someone whose mind has created an image, an idea, a dream, a thought of life, and who's struggling with life itself to try to get those two reconciled, that which they imaged within their mind and that which is the reality outside. A spiritual being does not do this. It's not that a spiritual being has a spiritual view of life. A spiritual being has no view of life. None. They just have the experience of life. They just see life. Not a view, not a concept, not a hope, not a dream, not a value. Just open your eyes and let those who have eyes to see, let them see. You just open and you see it. All of a sudden now life becomes like the ocean. It is effortless for life to be there if you haven't noticed yet. If you have no preconceived notions, then it is what it is. This person's sitting there, this person's sitting there, this person likes you, that person hates your guts, this person's rich, that person's poor. You used to be rich, now you're poor. You were healthy, now you're sick. Billions and trillions of things go on, don't they? How much effort is it for you to have those go on? The answer is zero. They're zero. They're just like the weather. How much effort do you put out to have the weather be the way it is? Why none? It's an effortless experience. It may be effortless unless you want to have a picnic outside and it's raining. Now it's not effortless. You're really not doing anything about it besides internally resisting. It's not raining because you're doing that. But if I asked you whether weather was effortless, you'd say, heck no. It's a lot of work to get it the way you need it. Truth is, you're not doing a thing about it. You're just creating stress inside yourself by having a view, an image, a concept, a dream, a hope, a value, which is attempting to do something with reality. It ain't doing much, so is it? Okay? But still, it does create tension, doesn't it? You can get tired not liking the weather. People say it all the time. I'm tired of this weather. Don't they? Live in Seattle and have it rain. I'm tired of it raining all the time. I'm tired of it being so hot. I'm so tired of the cold. I hate the cold. Look what you're doing. You're wearing yourself out over absolutely nothing, aren't you? Extrapolate that into all of life. When it is cold, it is cold. There's no reason to be tired of it or not tired of it and be resistant of it. It just is what it is. When it's hot, it's hot. When it's windy, it's windy. When it's rainy, it's rainy. That is an experience you're having. It has nothing to do with doership, and it is effortless. That is how life is to a spiritual being. I can only give you the beginning, and you have to extrapolate. You say, how could life be like weather? Life is exactly like weather. It is exactly like weather. And if you don't understand how life, all of life, is like weather, then you need to contemplate that. You need to wake up and watch that. Why is it like weather? Weather is something that happens all around you. Life is something that happens all around you. If you go to sleep, weather is still happening. If you wake up, it's still happening. Weather was here before you got here. Weather will be here after you leave. It's a system that's bigger than you that you get to experience. Life was here before you got here. It will be here after you leave. It's happening all around you. It happens while you're sleeping. It happens while you're awake. Doesn't it? It's a thing. It's a system. It's a reality. You are the consciousness that is experiencing this reality. That is effortless. It is effortless for consciousness to experience reality. Yet, it doesn't feel so effortless. It feels extremely stressful. It feels extremely fearsome. It feels extremely all kinds of stuff. And we get very tired. And I'm telling you, it's for the exact same reason that you get screwed up about the weather. It is not because of the weather. It is because you inside yourself are making up how you want things to be. Weird thing to do since you have no control over them. But in any event, you are making up how you want things to be, and then you are struggling with reality versus imagination, versus desire, versus concept, view. You do it with weather, and you certainly do it with life. When you can become about life the way I hope you have become about weather, which is, oh boy, it's raining out today. I wonder what I'll do in the rain. God, it's so hot, I'm going to the beach. Or it's cold, oh boy, let's go skiing. Let's go out and make ice cubes. Did it freeze yet? Is the ball outside frozen? Let's go look. Is there frost? Look, there's frost. It's like, I hope you're having fun, right? And if it's windy, let your hair down, all right? See what it could blow all the way through your hair. Just stand there and see what it's like to be a kite. I hope you're having fun with the weather, because it's just there all the time. And one way or another, you can enjoy every aspect of it in exactly the same way. Life is effortless, completely effortless. Life does not create stress. You create stress. If I say to you, weather does not create stress, you create stress, you go, yep, that's right. How could weather create stress? You create stress by resisting the weather, by desiring and preferring the weather. Notice I've slipped into the word desiring. Why? Because of the Four Noble Truths of Buddha. What's this got to do with Buddha? We're talking about the weather. No, we're not. We're talking about the essence of Taoism, the essence of Buddhism, the essence of all of the very deep teachings. What is that? Buddha said all of life is suffering, stressful, suffering, busy. The cause of all suffering is desire. You want to end suffering and desires. Weather is not stressful. It is because you create preferences, desires about the weather, that you create stress. That is Buddhist teachings. It is that simple. If you understand your relationship to weather, you understand your relationship to life. If you understand your relationship to life, you understand all the deep teachings, Lao Tzu's, Buddha's, etc. A spiritual being tries to have that kind of relationship with life. That's why I said spirituality is your whole life. Like weather is weather. It's like weather never stops being weather. You may say, oh, there's really some weather happening today. They use that term like that, right? There's weather. That means it's really stormy. Well, there's weather happening all the time. Okay? It's just the weather that you're comfortable with. When your relationship with life is like your relationship with weather, you will start to understand what it means that spirituality is full-time. It is every second of every moment of your life. All of your life becomes your spiritual path. Why? Because life is unfolding. It has nothing to do with you. It is not stressful. It is not fearful. It is not a problem. It is not anything. It is just what it is. And you are the one that is experiencing it. If your relationship with life is ever anything other than that, that's your spiritual work. It's that simple. If life seems scary to you, you're doing it. If life seems desirous to you, you're doing it. If life seems unfair, you're doing it. If life seems good, you're doing it. If life seems bad, you're doing it. No, seriously. Oh, it's good weather today. You did it. There's just weather. There's not good weather and bad weather. There's just weather. I asked you once before, Saturn has rings. Is that good or bad? Jupiter's the largest planet in the solar system. Is that good or bad? Is that good that Jupiter be the largest planet? Is it good that Pluto be the furthest one away? I hope you're sitting there going, what's that have to do with good or bad? It's not neither good or bad. It has rings. It has a size. That's just fact. Good or bad are value judgments, aren't they? Life has no value judgments. None. Mind has a value judgment. Your mind creates good and bad. Your mind creates all of this stuff. Otherwise, you're experiencing the reality of life. When you take on the phenomenal path, it's often called the pathless path. When you take on the path that says, there is no reason in the world that any experience I am having with life is anything other than an experience I'm having with life. And if I'm having a problem with it, it's because life is showing something that's wrong with me, not because something's wrong with life. If I am scared of the rain, that is not the rain's fault. If I'm scared of the wind, that is not the wind's fault. If I can't handle heat, that is not the heat's fault, is it? It's my fault. It's pointing out a problem with me. Why won't you look at life that way? She can do no wrong. She is reality. So mind wants to say, yeah, but why is she the way she is? Okay, I won't judge if you'll answer me why she is the way she is. Okay? She is the way she is for the same reason that some days are hot and some days are cold. And some days are windy and some days are calm. There are reasons, aren't there? Weather doesn't just decide how to be out of nothing. Are there not reasons why the weather is what it is? If I say to you the reason is because a high zone is coming in that's hitting a low and that's causing wind, then you get to say, well, why is there a high zone and why is there a low zone? There are reasons, aren't there? We got to go a little further. Well, because the mountains in the Rockies 3 weeks ago, blah, 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 right? And you got stratospheres in the ozone. There are reasons, are there not? And they're very big reasons, aren't they? Way bigger than your desires. Way bigger than your preferences. They're like, wow. Like the answer is, why is it this way? Because. You hear me? With a capital B. Because of all that is. That's why it is. That's why weather's the way it is, isn't it? We can predict weather, but we can affect weather, can't we? We like to feel we have control over it because tomorrow it's going to rain. Doesn't that make you feel important? It was going to rain tomorrow whether you knew it or not. It don't mean book because you can get up there on your satellite, take pictures of stupid things. A hurricane's coming. Okay, do something about it. Right? It's silly. You're just looking at the forces from further back, but they are why weather is what it is. It is the same with life. Life is the way it is because of all the forces that were. This person likes you because of experiences in her past that she's relating to you when she meets you. If she ate badly last night, she doesn't like you so much. If you remind her of a friend she met 2 weeks ago while traveling in Europe, because your eyes are blue or something, all right, then she likes you. If she didn't like that person, then your eyes were blue, then she hates you. It has nothing to do with you. Nothing. All the experiences of life come forward in this wave of reality. And that's what you're experiencing. So if anybody is silly enough to ask, why is this way? The answer is, because of all that ever was, passing through time and space, like science, cause and effect, resulted in this. And you have the honor of seeing it. If you are having a problem with it, there's something wrong with you. That position, that view, is the highest spirituality. And that is the highest path. And that is when your path becomes your life. And when your life becomes your path. That's when she becomes your teacher. Why? Because she's reflecting what's wrong with you. Okay? He can't stand trees. You love them. Why can't he stand trees? Because one fell in his car once, right? And crashed it up and bad things happen. In other words, there's just this past coming through. The truth is, trees are neither good nor bad. They just are. They are what they are. Your past experiences just leave impressions on you and are causing you to interact with things in a personal way instead of an impersonal way. And you've heard that. You've talked about the impersonal life. That's what they're talking about. The impersonal life. That life which exists without you sticking your 2 cents into what you're seeing. It just is what it is. That is effortless. I'm trying to tell you, Christ said, my burden is light. How can your burden be light? Now you understand? Don't you have a heavy burden about the weather? Would you consider the weather one of your heaviest burdens in life? Maybe your finances, maybe this, maybe that. All right, your hair's falling out. But not the weather. If you want to, the weather could be a great burden, couldn't it? I told you. If you can't handle the heat, can't handle the cold, and don't like the wind, and can't stand the rain, you got yourself a burden. Then all of a sudden, weather is a tremendous burden. You can't say my burden is light. I told you, keep comparing life to weather because you understand weather. But it's the same thing. It's a force that is because it is, and it's out of your control, and you experience it. So when Christ said, my burden is light, this is what he's saying. Your burden is light. Your burden is light. All of you. I don't care what's happening. You want to say, no, Mickey, you don't understand. Yeah, I do. Yeah, I do. I do understand. Your burden is light. You're experiencing life. If you don't resist, if you're not judging, if you're not creating a melodrama out of the particular experience of life you're having, then your burden is light. So people die. People get born. People love you. People hate you. People love you, then hate you. People hate you, then love you. Have you noticed? It's pretty weird, isn't it? You're young and healthy, then you're old and sick. Like, it's just all kinds of things go on, don't they? That's life. How are you doing with it? With life, not with this particular situation. When you can say, I'm doing fine with life. Life's fascinating. It's unfolding all around me. And either I'm comfortable with it and enjoying the experience, or I'm uncomfortable with it and enjoying the growth of letting go of what's uncomfortable. So there's never a moment of my life that is not my spiritual unfoldment, that is not my spiritual growth. There is nothing that's spiritual and not spiritual, just like there's no weather that's not weather. I told you, it's always weather. It's always life. This is when it really becomes spiritual. There's not a moment that you're not growing. You are either permitting what is unfolding to come in and pass through you, and you feel the lightness of your burden, you feel the non-doership, you understand the Tao, that which is unfolding you are one with, you're comfortable with, you're there with, or what is unfolding is hitting stuff inside of you that is causing discomfort and commotion, which you already decided some time ago. If there is discomfort or commotion about life, it is not life's fault, it's mine. I am creating that. It means I'm unable to let that part of life make it through my consciousness. I'm resisting, I'm struggling, and it's causing turmoil. And that's where doership comes from. When you can't let life pass through you, then you become a doer. Then you sit there and say, what am I going to do about this? If life is passing through just fine, you don't say, what am I going to do about this? You're already enjoying it. You're already experiencing this. This is the highest path, and few have ever walked that path. It is the highest path. You can't help but become liberated if you walk that path. Why? It's a little more time so you see it, because people like to understand things. The truth is, life is just unfolding, just like weather. But if you have something inside of you, since life is so interesting and constantly changing, it's bound to hit it. If you're afraid that people won't like you, your very fear that people won't like you will make you sensitized to the natural experiences in life where some people don't like you. Some people are going to like you, some people are not going to like you. And because you're sensitized, you hold on to that. So that this person says they don't like you, 3 days later it's still stuck inside of you. And so you start projecting and thinking and having psychological problems about it because you already had a problem. If on the other hand, it doesn't bother you that people don't like you, the right way to view life, by the way, you want to know how to be free? Since life is everything, it has to be everything. All you're experiencing at any given moment is one part of everything. Well, people not liking you is part of everything, isn't it? Sickness is part of everything. Poverty is part of everything. Wealth is part of everything. People loving you is part of everything. Fortune is part of everything. Misfortune is part of everything. Flat tires are part of everything. So it's just that you're going to be experiencing part of everything every moment, and it's none of your business which part you're experiencing. All right? It's just that part of everything. That's how a yogi looks at life. If you are unable to be comfortable with a particular part of everything, that just showed what's wrong with you. It means there's something inside of you that's out of harmony with the whole of creation. So what does one do? You take that on. You take this that I'm talking about on as your path. It's actually very exciting. There's never a dull moment. Never. And you stop judging people and stop not liking people. It doesn't matter if people don't like you, but why would you not like them? They're just part of everything. What I like most is the people who say, I love God, but I don't like Him. It's like, at some point you just say, it's all God. This is God. This is creation. There could be anything. There's this. There was an empty slate, and at this particular moment, here it is. Here's your Lego blocks. They're called atoms. Put them together. Okay, right now, put them together. See it? Look at it. This is what the Lego blocks made at this particular moment. Throughout the whole universe, all the galaxies, plus what's going on this planet, just one little tiny little fraction of it. This is what the atoms in the toy box of creation are creating, her and you. You know what I mean? Isn't it? This is what they are put together to make. They're all the same. They're just the atoms pulled together into form and expressiveness. When you look at them, when you're a spiritual being, all you see is the one. All you see is the whole expressing itself in all these different and infinitely changing patterns. So you don't judge anymore. You don't like and dislike anymore. You don't participate in that. What you do is honor, respect, accept, participate in life. You just get to a point where you stop the game and you say, this is not my life. This is my experience of life. You see the difference? It's not your weather. It's your experience of weather. So life is unfolding. You are being given your experience. That's wonderful. If you find it burdensome, you got some work to do. If you find it wrong, you got some work to do. How does one do this spiritual work? Because this is very deep. And now you notice why I say it's 24/7. It's a full-time job. Your job is not your job. It's life in the form of your job. So you're going to interact with life as your job, the same as you interact with life as your wife, the same as you interact with life as your children, the same as you interact with life as your finance, the same as you interact with life on your vacation. It's all the same. It's all the same. It's just different aspects of the unfolding of life. How do you do this path? How do you walk this path? It's actually very, very simple. First, it's full time. You got to buy into that. There's not your time and God's time and family time and work time. Nah. That's your mind breaking it up. There's just life and your experience of it. If you take that on as your path, just pay attention to the changes that go on inside of you. Pay attention to when you open. Pay attention to when you close. Pay attention when your mind starts talking. Pay attention when it gets quiet. Pay attention when your emotions start getting angry or fear or anxiety. Pay attention when they feel love and so on. Pay attention to the effect that the unfoldment of life is having on your inner being. And then decide, is this balanced? Or if life is just life, why is it causing all this commotion? Why are you not just steady? And you come now to the Gita. In the Gita, Krishna said to Arjuna, after all the talk of yoga and all these powers and all this stuff, the greatest lines in the Gita, he said, when it's said and done, Arjuna, equilibrium is yoga. Equilibrium. Evenness. The evenness. In fact, that line I always quote you from the Gita, where this state I'm talking about, where someone achieves such a great state of that balance, enlightenment, freedom. Such a being is free. They walk in the world but not of it. They're just, no matter what comes or goes. They say it's called transcending the gunas, passing beyond the qualities of nature. Sometimes nature is dark, sometimes she's active, and sometimes she's peaceful. All right? You can be the same as you walk through this. And so once Arjuna asked Krishna, he says, if I meet such a person who's transcended this world, transcended the gunas, how will I know him? Does he walk, does he sit, he talk like any other man? And those lines, I know I quote it to you all the time, those lines, the answers to that is the essence of spirituality. Krishna says to Arjuna, he says, Arjuna, you won't know him that way. He walks, he talks, he sits like any other man. If you want to know him who's gone beyond, in joy he's not overjoyed, in sorrow not over sorrow. He lets goodness come when it will and when it will depart, and lets darkness come and when it will pass. He's like a stranger, a sojourner in the midst of the qualities of nature. Just as all the rivers and streams and waters of this earth daily flow down into the ocean, but the ocean doesn't overstep its bounds, does it? So all of life pours in through the senses of a truly spiritual being and leave him as they found him, at peace, serene, contented. Wow, there's the description of true spirituality. Only by going through the process we've been talking about, could you ever achieve that state? You can't achieve that state by withdrawing yourself from life. Because the very fact that you have to withdraw yourself means you can't handle it. All right? So you left a part of you out of balance. It's about saying to life, come and get it. Doors wide open. Unfold however you unfold. And if there is something inside of me that cannot remain at peace, that cannot be balanced with this particular unfolding of life, I'll work on it. You'll work on life? No. I'll work on the part of me that is not in harmony, that is not at peace with anything that unfolds. And so you just keep relaxing and releasing, relaxing and releasing. No matter what's going on around you, you try to be neutral. You try to be open. You try to be calm by letting go of the commotions that get created in you. But you permit the weather, the wind of life, to come in, to blow through you. It is the work of a lifetime to become that open. But you are capable of becoming that open. And it happens, fortunately, step by step. It's not all or nothing. The more you open and don't resist, the lighter your burden is. You no longer fear life. You should not fear life. No matter what's happening. I don't care what's happening. It could be the most dangerous, stressful time of your life. It's just life unfolding and you experiencing it. Now you're going to find that you can't go into the really deep states while you have motives. As long as you have preference, and people will not teach you this, they'll tell you as long as you're not attached to your preference, it's okay to have preference. You never heard me say that. That's not my experience. Sure, it's okay. You're not going to go to hell. Nor will you know freedom. Nor will you know freedom. It is only in a state where there's no motives. You are just sitting here ready to experience whatever weather there is. You love the snow and you love the heat and you love the wind and you love the calm. Who cares? They're all the same. Therefore, you have no preference. Once you achieve a state where you can't even find how you would decide what you want. You went through enough experiences to know you would never pick the right thing. You would pick whatever's easy for you. You would never, ever pick that which really will cause you to grow. And so eventually you stop picking. That's preferenceless. You have no preference. You don't know what's supposed to happen. You don't know what's not. You don't even care. You just get up and you open and you let the wind of life come and you dance with her. You participate with complete openness. And if you find a part of your being, which you will, which struggles with anything that's happening, you let it go. Let what go? The part of your being that's struggling. Whew. That's what it means to die daily. I die daily. Oh, I die daily. You just keep letting go of any part that reacts to what's going on. You will grow daily. And it will get lighter and lighter, and you'll find that bigger and bigger things can happen. They don't have any effect on you. When you find that really big things can happen and have no effect on you, your fear of life goes away. Why would you be afraid? Something's going to happen. You understand that? Something's going to happen. No matter what it is. It's going to be fun. That's how you got to be. All right? Only by transcending preference, by transcending motives, having preconceived notions about what's supposed to be, only by going past that can you really begin to work with these deep states. Anybody can become enlightened. Anybody. You know how long it takes to get enlightened? That's how long it takes. Yukteswar said to Yogananda, whenever you want to go, just go. All right? Nobody's asking you to do anything. It's not like you have to earn your right. All that is needed is nothing. Life is here. You are experiencing it. When that's what's happening, you're free. When all that's happening is that life is here and you are experiencing it, you'll pick up the Tao by Lao Tzu and you won't be able to read it because your breath will become so quiet and your head will hang and say, he's actually talking about this. In that whole book, he's talking about what you're experiencing. What it's like to just be there with life. You pick up the Gita, the same thing will happen. You pick up the teachings of the Buddha, same thing will happen. You pick up the deep mystical teaching of Christianity, same thing will happen. Pick up the Kabbalah, same thing will happen. All the deep, deep teachings are the same. They are, here's life, and here's the consciousness experiencing life. That's all there is. That's all there is. If there's more than that, you're doing it. And that's what you have to let go of, and that's what your path is. And you will find that you get to walk that path day and night. And now there's a deeper meaning to everything that goes on. Everything. Your relationships, your jobs, your family, your finances, everything. They affect you deeply, don't they? So you have an opportunity to work with yourself at a deep level. That's when life becomes your friend. She's your guru. She's your teacher. Nothing can go wrong. Do you hear me? Nothing. If you use life to free yourself, you're always, always going to be growing. Jai Gurudev.